and welcome to Inspired Sports, your place for clean sports talk with real inspiration. We are back.
We're back, baby.
Jake, we're doing it again, man. You can't get rid of us, right?
They thought they got rid of us, but here we're back again.
Well, back by popular demand because
Exactly.
I mean, all I've heard since we took our little vacation, our little break is, when are you guys doing this podcast again? When are you doing this podcast again? And so we're just
Literally
giving the
all
people
of my
what
friends.
they want. Literally.
All of my friends, every
strangers,
time I saw them,
neighbors.
everyone was walking up. When's the podcast coming back? When? Even my mom. Hi, Mom.
Well, listen, Jake, if your mom wants something, we're going to get it done. If that's what she wants, it will happen. Here we are again, but we have big news. Okay, we're going to jump right in to one of our trademark segments called Did That Just Happen? And here's the first one, Jake. I'm going to ask you this question. Did the best sports podcast ever just become the best football podcast of all time?
Listen, yes, they did. This is going to be one of those things. I know in our previous episodes, sometimes we would agree, sometimes we would disagree, but I can guarantee this is one of those ones that we are agreeing fully on, that we are back, but we are back football edition. That's which makes me so excited.
I mean, listen, it's that time of year. And so when you turn on Inspired Sports Football Edition, it's going to be all NFL, all pro football talk. It's going to have all the hottest topics. We're going to have all of the hottest takes. We're going to bring you the truth and not anything that's been washed and assumed by the large mainstream media. We're bringing the true fan voice into sports talk.
Clean sports talk.
Clean sports talk. That's right. That's what sets us apart. So if this is your first time listening, maybe we should let the people know. Perhaps you stumbled upon us. Maybe you're watching on YouTube, or you're watching on or you're listening to anywhere that you have, your favorite podcast platform. But that's what we are, and that's what makes us different. We are Inspired Sports. We're clean sports talk with real inspiration. So you can turn this on. You can listen to this anywhere, anytime. It's clean. It's family friendly. And most of all, it ends with an inspirational portion that we call a devotion, something that we base off of a biblical teaching, because as much as Scott and I love football, the thing we love the most in the world is our Savior, Jesus Christ.
That's right. That is the one thing that brought us together. That's how we met. And so as much as we are sports fans, we are first and foremost Christ fans.
That's right. We're Bible college friends. We met in Bible college, and we're going on 2 decades. Don't tell the people. Don't tell the people. Don't do the math.
Me feel old there.
We'll just call it 2 decades, but you don't need to do the math. You don't need to figure out where all the gray hair came from. But you just need to know that we're going to bring you the best of the best each and every week. And our podcast will be roughly 30, 40 minutes, something you can consume on your drive to and from work, your commute, however you do that, your workout, your morning devotion time, maybe even, whatever works for you. So let's jump back in to Did That Just Happen? Because there's a whole off season worth of football that we need to cover. But the biggest breaking news of the week, Scott, is did the Packers just shamefully hustle an old man in the biggest trade in NFL history?
Okay, so if you haven't been paying attention, I'm pretty sure by the end of our podcast last time, I was still a Cowboys fan. But to catch the fans up, I have allowed my Cowboys loyalty card to expire.
Whoa, hold on. Excuse me, sir. Are you breaking news? Is this our first breaking news on Inspired Sports for the season?
We have a Cardinals jersey with my last name on it. I am at this point a Cardinals fan, and I have said, I've made it known on the record, until Jerry Jones or Dak Prescott or both are gone from the Cowboys, I can't support them anymore. And this trade is exactly the reason why. I mean, it's mind-blowing that they would trade a generational player away. That of itself is mind-blowing. But 2, it's not so much that they traded him, because I know there was some disgruntled feelings between management and Micah Parsons, but they traded him to the Packers, and they traded him for 2 picks and Kenny Clark. Come on, no, it's Micah Parsons. We're talking about a generational player. You don't trade him. This trade is bonkers, and here's why. I will tell you this: I'm not a fan of these advanced sports stats that they have going on nowadays. But I will tell you this: if you look at the stat of expected points added, it's just kind of the baseline to a lot of these advanced stats. Micah Parsons on the Cowboys, when he's on the field, they are the best defense in the NFL. And in 1,100 snaps, or almost 1,100 snaps without him on the field, they are the worst defense. So you're trading away the player that makes you arguably a great defense to then leaving it up to 11 players that cannot hold a candlestick to Micah Parsons. So absolutely a bad trade.
Hold on. Okay. First of all, I'm not anti-advanced analytics statistics. Okay. I'm fine. They have their place. They work. But at no point since Micah Parsons has arrived in Dallas has he, on or off the field, made Dallas the best defense in the league. That's just not accurate. You got to use your eyeballs and watch the game to notice that. But I will agree with you. He's an incredible impact player. I think his career is on a great trajectory. I don't know about generational talent.
Come on.
But here's my answer. Did the Packers just shamefully hustle an old man? No, absolutely not. Jerry Jones, the gambler, just pulled another great trade. I know I'm in the minority here. I know people are losing their minds over this. But listen, it's not that you just traded Micah Parsons for Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. It's that you have to pay Micah Parsons 4 years, $188 million, which the Packers gladly did, right? But the issue here is that they're already paying Dak more money than any other quarterback in the league. He has the highest average salary per year than any other quarterback at $60 million. They're already paying CeeDee Lamb top 3 wide receiver money. You can't have 3 players take up 60, 75% of your cap. And so while I agree, sending him to the Packers seems absurd. And while I agree, if you had taken your time and traded him maybe back near the draft, before, during, or after, or some other time in the offseason, it feels very reactionary as far as the trade. They didn't take the time to develop it and get the most value. I actually think that you'll see that when this is over, that they're like, yeah, you know what? It was the better route, because you're not only getting the 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark, you're getting the money to spend in other places on your roster. And I think you can look back at some trades in the past. You can look back at the Chiefs and Tyreek Hill, and people lost their minds. Oh, you're never going to win another game. And then they win the Super Bowl the next year. And then they go back to the Super Bowl and they win another Super Bowl, all without Tyreek Hill. They took the picks and they built that defense out. And for the first time, Kansas City had a good defense based off those young picks and players that they got in the Tyreek Hill trade. And you look back at like the Khalil Mack trade, back at, I think it was 2018, and you see didn't really do much for the Raiders. The Raiders didn't get much better, and the Bears, and it just kind of comes out in the wash. I don't think Micah is the generational talent that everyone is saying that he is. He's now received the largest contract in NFL history for a non-quarterback. And at the same time, literally just today, they're talking about how he might take some shots in his back so that he can play. And all of a sudden I'm going, whoa, is the back injury that we all thought he was making up so that he didn't have to practice or play, is it real? And so I actually think, I can't believe we found a way for me to side with Jerry Jones. I think Jerry Jones might have actually gotten the better of the Packers and might have gotten the better of Micah Parsons.
Nah, I can't. I won't go that far. I think it's something that we'll have to wait and see. Who knows? But
I feel like I won you over just a little bit, like 5%. Like 5%, I won you over.
You did tip me a little bit, but maybe it's just the disdain for the Cowboys right now talking. Exactly, but I just can't get on board. I think that they are, once again, it's Jerry Jones being Jerry Jones in my mind. So we'll just have to wait and see.
All right, let me ask you another. Did that just happen? Scott Jakeway, did that just happen? Did Travis Kelce, this Travis Kelce right here, did Travis Kelce just begin his farewell tour?
Oh, hands down. I mean, let's talk about this as 2 married men. We know what it means when you start to, become serious in a relationship.
Travis Kelce's married?
No, he's engaged. They popped the question.
To
whom? Taylor Swift.
Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot that was a thing. Are they still dating? They're still a thing?
Here's the deal, though. I mean, we know what it's like to all of a sudden have a priority that takes top, compared to football. He's 36 in October. He's played 12 seasons, 3 Super Bowl championships. I mean, there's not a whole lot else for him to prove. And so, especially if your fiance, soon to be wife, is a billionaire, I feel like there comes a point where you're like, yeah, maybe taking these hard hits aren't worth it when the bank account all of a sudden just jumped into the atmosphere, as a billionaire now. So, and here's the thing. Here's my wild prediction. I last season when we did these podcasts, I always were making these crazy predictions. But here's my prediction on this. You ready for this?
I want to bring it.
I am predicting this is all leading up to Taylor Swift performing at the Super Bowl this year at halftime in San Francisco.
Wow.
And my prediction is they get married at halftime.
No way.
Can you imagine? Listen. Can you imagine the ratings that this NFL would gain from a Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce marriage at halftime? I mean, come on.
Listen, I don't know if she's actually going to have her wedding and a halftime performance. I think you might be right that she might actually perform halftime. That's actually pretty insightful. I didn't think about that. But I actually think as for Travis Kelce, it is his farewell tour, but I think it for different reasons. Everyone's fully consumed with the engagement with Taylor Swift and getting married. And I think that's certainly part of it. But obviously, Travis has a lot of interests. He's appearing in movies. He has his own very successful podcast. And honestly, you mentioned his age, 36 years old, and he plays ball hard and he has taken hits for real. So I think the way that the Super Bowl ended against the Eagles, with the Eagles really just taking it and handling the Chiefs, I think it left a bad taste in his mouth. I think if that game had gone differently, if the Chiefs had won, or maybe even if the Chiefs had been competitive, I think what you might have seen is that Travis Kelce might have retired this offseason. But I think he didn't want to go out like that. And so I think he's come back, and I think he's come back fully focused. And then, you hear it every preseason, right? In the best shape of his life. But yeah, so I think that it is his farewell tour, but I think it's going to be a grand farewell tour. We'll talk more about that prediction later in our Inspired Sports podcast here today. So let me ask you one more. One more, did that just happen? And then we'll move this thing along. One more, did that just happen? Did the Cleveland Browns just admit that their draft class is a dumpster fire? And I say this to you, Scott Jakeway, because I don't know if everyone out there knows that the Cleveland Browns have chosen to start 40-year-old Joe Flacco as their starting quarterback in week 1. So was their draft class a dumpster fire?
I mean, fun fact, I am 6 days older than Joe Flacco. So with that in mind,
I don't know how you know that.
It's one of those things that, like, you can't start a 40-year-old to be your starting quarterback after drafting a 3rd round and a 5th round, if I'm not mistaken, quarterback. I mean, if you're going to put the old man above the two, I mean, you had 7 draft picks and used 2 of them for your quarterback room, and you're not even using either one of them as your starting quarterback. The Cleveland Browns are clearly a dumpster fire, and by starting Joe Flacco over their other quarterbacks, it's just a given. So I don't know how we can disagree on that.
I think there's more to the story. I think their whole draft class was a joke. I wanted to give them some credit. They took the chance. They traded out of their pick, which was supposed to be number 2, and they traded out with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they moved up to draft Travis Hunter, right? So Cleveland gets extra picks and picks next year and these other things, and we'll see how those play out. They take Mason Graham with their first pick in the 1st round. But then they take a linebacker, Carson Schlesinger, in the 2nd round. They take Quinshon Judkins in the 3rd round, a running back. That's fine. Okay. Quinshon Judkins looked good at Ohio State, but Quinshon Judkins hasn't even signed his rookie contract. He is not eligible to play week 1 yet. He's currently under investigation for doing some things that we're not going to talk about here on Inspired Sports, but it was just so shocking. And then what do they do in the next round? They draft a tight end. Okay. Then they draft a quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, who was a project quarterback. And they did that with hopes that he would become what? Because then 2 rounds later, they take Shedeur Sanders. And in between, in the 4th round, they take another running back. So they drafted a running back in the 3rd round who's not even going to be available week 1 or play for them, who was just a few weeks ago talking about maybe going back to Ohio State. That's a real story. So the whole thing shows, it's like, what did you guys do when you showed up on draft day? Were you guys like, I'd really like to go home with 2 running backs who aren't going to start for us, 2 quarterbacks who aren't going to start for us, and a tight end who's going to be a backup? I just can't understand it. And honestly, no shots at Joe Flacco. He's had an amazing career, Super Bowl winning quarterback. But if you're going to pull the trigger on quarterback in the third and the fifth round, get him out there. I'm not sure what they're waiting for. I think they believe they have something. They can maybe put something together and make a run to the playoffs like they did 2 years ago with Joe Flacco. But that's just wishful thinking, man. Like that's not team development and player development. Put out there what you have. And if you need a quarterback, which they did, maybe if you need a quarterback, you shouldn't be shopping in the third round and the fifth round. Like if it's
Exactly.
that desperate of a need, then make your move and go up the draft board and go get who you need. Honestly, a lot like the Giants did with Jackson Dart. Like go get your guy,
Right.
get him ready, and get him out there. And
Yep.
I think that's one of the worst drafts that I've seen. Those 7 picks in the first 5 rounds, I don't understand a single one of them. And we'll see if Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders even makes it on the field or when they make it on the field. But I think their season's already over. It's a developmental season.
Oh, I mean, it's the Browns. I think every year is a developmental season for the Browns. I want to transition to our second segment, a little segment we like to call "Own It."
Own
And
it.
I think we would be doing ourselves and our fans a disservice if we didn't make some early, pre week one predictions on just like every other podcast. I think we have to throw our little info out there. So I want to ask you this. We're going to go through 3 different positions or 3 different awards.
I'm so ready.
And I want to hear your thoughts on who you would pick first. Let's go with number 1, who you're picking already for Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year. Obviously, there's offensive and defensive. And so you're wondering, who are you going to pick here? What are you going to pick? The answer's already solved, and I can solve it all with one player. The Rookie of the Year is going to be Travis Hunter. If Travis Hunter plays a full season or even 15, 16 games of a full season, Travis Hunter is going to be, I think, the first ever both offensive and defensive player of the year. How could he not be? It's insane. They have actually done what they said they were going to do, and they have had him practicing on both sides of the ball, playing full time and starting. And so I think he has the kind of impact on both sides. I'm concerned, and I think this hasn't been taken seriously by the Jaguars or a lot of other people, honestly. It's not that he doesn't have the energy or the endurance to play both sides, to play all of those snaps on both sides of the ball, Jake. I think the problem is it just takes one hit. It just takes one hit to knock him out, and then he's not playing on either side of the ball. It's a long season, but that's my prediction. If he plays a full season, Travis Hunter will be both offensive and defensive Rookie of the Year.
I think that's a bold statement, bold prediction. It's possible. I mean, Travis Hunter, if he does what he is thinking he's going to do and he's claiming he's going to do, easily could be that. But for me, I think it's a little bit more conservative. I'm going to go with Ashton Genty as far as because hear me out. I mean, homie was a baller in college. I mean, had a record-breaking season, was out there running over defensive lines. I mean, I think he's going to easily translate that into the NFL. I think that with Pete Carroll, he's got a coach that is prime. And I mean, let's look at Marshawn Lynch. I mean, Pete Carroll has had an all-star running back in the past. And so I think he's already going to have a coach that is forward-minded when it comes to the run. Hopefully, if they get on the 1-yard line, they run it instead of pass it. But I mean, I think that
way to slide that one in there.
I think that he's got the collegiate stats that will easily translate. Sometimes you look at someone that is high production in college and you don't see it translating into the NFL. I think he's one of those guys that it just easily looks to translate into not only the NFL, but with the way the Raiders are built, the way the coaching staff is built. I really do think he is set up for success. So that's going to be my prediction for Rookie of the Year. But
I could see that. But as a Chiefs fan, there's no way I'm ever going to jump on board with after the Raiders make a competent hire in Pete Carroll for the first time. Like, wow, they did something competent. I'm not sure where that's going to end for them, but hiring Pete Carroll, that's always a good idea. Talented, accomplished coach, and then they drafted Ashton Genty, and I was like, oh, are they going to be like a real football team now? Like, do we need to actually pay attention when they're on the schedule? So, as a Chiefs fan, I'm not choosing a Raiders running back as my Rookie of the Year, but I get why you are.
Okay. Speaking of that, let's move into MVP predictions because I
Ooh.
have a feeling, knowing you're a Chiefs fan, I already know where this is gonna go. But let me hear it from your mouth. Who do you think is early week one predictions for MVP?
Well, I've been digging into a lot of tape and I've been doing a lot of research and I have found this incredible prospect on
Okay.
the Kansas City Chiefs roster. And he was buried really deep on the roster. But if you look, his number is 1515 and his last
Mm,
name is Mahomey. Patrick Mahomes regains the top of the mountain, regains the gold of the MVP trophy. Patrick Mahomes brings back the
no.
fireworks to the Chiefs offense. Patrick Mahomes will be the MVP of this NFL season. Get ready because it doesn't matter that Rashee Rice won't be available for the first 6 weeks. Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, a motivated
No.
and happy and fulfilled Travis Kelce, and most of all, the steal of the draft, Josh Simmons, our new left tackle, who looks like he's
No.
going to be there for the next 12 years as a Pro Bowler and an All Pro. I'm telling you that Chiefs fireworks and the Chiefs offense is coming right back, and that defense is just as good as it has been the last 3 years as they've been to the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes will remind everyone that Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and everybody else are not in his league. MVP, Patrick Mahomes.
I said this already last time that we were on a podcast. You can't be MVP when you're the third most popular name on your team.
But
I
this is
mean,
not
you've
popularity. This
got
is about
you've got
production.
Taylor Swift, you got Travis Kelce, and then you have Patrick Mahomes. You can't be MVP when they're not even talking about you in your own city. I think the clear prediction for me is Jaden Daniels. The way he turned
Oh,
around the Commanders last year, he took a team that was right in line with the Cleveland Browns. Going back to our last discussion, and I mean the Commanders were a joke for a long time and they brought in Jaden Daniels, and he turned them around into a winning team last year. We know that the NFL and the MVP voters, they're not always looking at who's the best or who's the best record as a team. They're looking at the individual stats. I mean, look at Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson. I mean, there was a lot of argument there that Lamar Jackson deserved it more because of his team and their record and all of those things. But so I feel like Jaden Daniels is set up based off of how we've seen MVP votes in the last few years to pull on top. If he can duplicate this year what he duplicated or what he did last year, I don't think there's any question. I think Jaden Daniels comes away with the MVP, and I don't even think Patrick Mahomes prediction. Another prediction. I don't even think Patrick Mahomes is even in the top three.
why you got to do
I'll just
that?
put it out there.
Why you got to do that?
Top
That wasn't the
three.
question. The question
Top
was
three.
the question wasn't what can you say to annoy Alex. That was not the question. You're supposed to answer who your MVP was. But it's
Listen,
interesting, and the people should know. We kind of run over hey what the topics are, what we're going to talk about, but we don't
yeah,
always know each other's answers before we sit down and do this because we like to
no.
keep it fresh and we like to catch each other off guard. We think that makes for a great podcast. So I did not know that you were going to say Jaden Daniels, which is really interesting considering the last prediction.
Yeah. So last prediction is this Super Bowl prediction. Who's winding up at the Super Bowl this year? I mean, being a Chiefs fan, I can't imagine you're going to give me any surprise
Oh,
there. But
here, let me
again,
give you
I
some
don't I
math.
don't
Let me
know
give
what
you
you're
some
going to
math.
say. I don't know
One,
what you're going to say, but
2, 3 straight trips to the Super Bowl. Let's mark it down for 4 because when the playoffs start, Patrick Mahomes becomes another person. But listen, I'll dial back my Chiefs fandom and keep this short. I actually
okay.
think, and the reason I said this about not knowing what each other say, is your MVP pick is actually who I have winning the NFC. So I believe it's going to be the
Oh
Chiefs
wow.
versus the Commanders. I really do. I like what the
Ooh.
Commanders, and I won't even talk about the
Okay.
Chiefs. I think the Chiefs have absolutely gotten better, but I have weeks and weeks to talk about the Chiefs. Let me jump over here to the Commanders and say that I think the addition of Deebo Samuel, getting the Terry McLaurin contract done, keeping
Hmm.
everybody happy in house, another year of development. Cliff Kingsbury, maybe it didn't work out as a coach, but Cliff Kingsbury is a legit offensive
Yep.
coordinator and offensive
Absolutely.
mind. And so I like what they're doing there and what they're building. They went and got Laramie Tunsil, and Laramie Tunsil is just a rock solid left tackle. He's not the best in the league, but he is a guy who is going to keep his quarterback clean.
Yep.
And so I think they went all in. They pushed their chips in. They said, we got that young quarterback, so let's go spend the money. Let's make the trades. Let's draft what we want and what we need, and let's see if we can make a push to the Super Bowl. And I actually think they're going to pull it off, because I think the NFC has a lot of question marks in other teams like the Eagles and all the players they lost from their Super Bowl championship team. And like the Rams with Matthew Stafford, is he healthy? Is his back okay? And other teams that I think maybe could emerge from the NFC, I just think the Commanders are going to pull it off, because Jaden Daniels is just one of those guys that when
He's the truth.
It shocks me, honestly. It
Yeah.
makes me think a lot of Patrick Mahomes, if I'm being honest. He never looks overwhelmed in the moment. And that is one of the first things I look for in a quarterback. So that's my prediction. Chiefs versus Commanders. And, of course, the Chiefs are going to win.
Interesting. Oh, okay. Let's throw that out there. Shocker. Breaking news. The Chiefs fan thinks the Chiefs are going to win.
I'm sorry. I can't keep up with what team you're rooting for these days. Are you a Cardinals fan, a Cowboys fan? Oh, look at that. Oh, all of a sudden he's a Commanders fan. He's just abandoned.
No, surprisingly enough, I will say this. As much as I think Jaden Daniels is going to pull off the MVP win, I don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl. My prediction is this. It's going to be a revenge tour when it comes to the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be the Bengals versus the Lions. I think that Joe Burrow has a lot to prove. I think the Lions organization just through and through has a chip on their shoulder. I think that they are going to plow through, and it's going to be one of those things that everyone jumps on board to the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Commanders, and those are the easy picks. We're not about
it's not about easy or hard. It's about being right. The Bengals defense is absolutely atrocious. They didn't even make the playoffs last year. They haven't made the playoffs in 2 years. And all of a sudden, you're going to put them back in the Super Bowl.
Back in the Super Bowl, because here's the thing.
Oh, man.
This is
people in their Joe Burrow love. Dude, I don't get it. I don't get all you people in your Joe Burrow love. You can't just keep missing the playoffs. All Patrick Mahomes does is go to the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl every year. But, Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase to throw to and throws for thousands of yards. I'm not impressed. Their defense is awful. There's no chance. Jake, I'm sorry I cut you off. We try not to cut each other off, but I'm losing my mind over here. I'm worried for my friend and his mental well-being that he just picked the Bengals to make the Super Bowl. I don't even have time to get into the Lions' choice, who are obviously going to regress after losing both their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator to head coaching jobs. What? Do you want a chance to redo that?
No, not at all. Because here's the thing. We have our specialties on this podcast. You come with all the nice, pretty stats, and you come with all of the facts, and you come with all the Chiefs love, and the easy.
You are peeling back the curtain right now. You really are peeling back. The fourth wall is coming down.
When people watch our podcast, they're like, okay, we know what he's gonna say. My shtick in this whole thing is no one knows what I'm going to say. I'm unpredictable.
That's right.
I'm the guy that
he's the wild card.
I'm the wild card, and my wild card prediction for this episode is Bengals versus Lions. Mark it down, because in about 18 weeks, 19 weeks, when we're talking playoffs and we're getting to the playoffs, you're going to be surprised at both teams. We're going to mark it down. We're going to look back at episode 1 of this season, and we're going to say, wow, Scott Jakeway was actually right. Unbelievable.
For far be it for me to forget you are the wild card. Scotty Wild Card Jakeway, everybody.
That's it. That's me.
We hope you have enjoyed Did That Just Happen and Own It. But now we're going to do something that we like to call a moment of truth. As we close each and every episode of Inspired Sports, we take some time to do a biblical devotion. Either myself or Scott will take some time to pull some truth from the Bible and to teach, maybe share some scriptures, share some experiences, and share some thoughts. Our goal is to encourage you, it's to inspire you, and it's also to spur you on to maybe pull out your Bible and dig a little deeper. So we want to encourage you today, and it's my privilege this time to share this devotion. So Scott, I'm sharing something that I like to call hype train, because it's been off-season football, and so I just feel like the hype train is out of control for like every team. I feel like with every new football season, hope and hype are just full in the hearts and minds of every football fan, and everyone just believes this is our year. I mean, as a former Cowboys fan, I think you might have had that feeling a few times and maybe been let down, but we'll stay on. we'll stay on track here. But the truth is that hype can convince people of things that honestly, if they sat down and thought about it logically, just aren't true. So here, let me share a few of them, as I call NFL hype. And the first one is hype has convinced 49er fans that Christian McCaffrey is going to play a full season of games. And if you have watched any of Christian McCaffrey's career, he's amazing. But that guy gets hurt. But in the offseason, this is the year, man. He's in the best shape of his life, and he's going to lead us straight to the playoffs and the promised land, and it's just going to happen. But that's not hope. That's just hype. Also, and honestly, you didn't know I was going to share this with your Bengals prediction, but Bengals fans are believing the hype. The hype train in Cincinnati is out of control because they think we paid all this money to Joe Burrow, and we paid all of this money to Jamar Chase, and we paid all of this money to T. Higgins, and our offense is going to be amazing. And it's still not going to be enough because they believe that having a terrible defense is an okay thing. So it's the hype is out of control in Cincinnati. The hype is out of control in Pittsburgh because Steelers fans believe that 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers is still an elite quarterback. And listen, I have seen Aaron Rodgers do things on a football field that I didn't think were possible, but I have not seen him do that since he wore green and yellow. So I think the hype train has gotten out of control, and Aaron Rodgers is not the answer in Pittsburgh. Cowboys fans are believing the hype that this year, this is a winning combination. A first-year head coach who's never been a head coach before in Brian Schottenheimer, and the highest paid quarterback in the league, Dak Prescott, who can't even put up the statistics to be a top 10 quarterback. That's a winning combination. That's the hype they're believing in Dallas. Can you tell that I'm just having fun poking at all the different fan bases? They're like, hey, this is supposed to be a biblical devotion. Okay, just two more, just for the fun of it. Bears fans believe the hype that their new coach, Ben Johnson, is actually going to get Caleb Williams to throw the ball on time and not hold it for an hour and a half and get sacked. And I think that's just hype because that's who Caleb Williams is. He's going to hold the ball too long and get sacked. And lastly, listen, I used to live there. You know this, Jake. I used to live in Indianapolis. There's good people there. There are good salt of the earth, quality humans that are Colts fans. But I'm sorry, the Colts fans that are believing that giving Daniel Jones a second try in his career after what happened in New York is a good plan for their season. That is hype. So I'm here to tell everyone as we move into the biblical portion of this devotion that hype is not hope. Don't confuse hype and hope because hype is just noise mixed with wishful thinking. It has no substance. But hope is an eternal creation of God. We know in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13, often referred to as the love chapter, that we find out that there are three things that will last forever, right? 1 Corinthians 13, verse 13 says, three things will last forever, faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. But it's that middle one that I want to talk about as I'm sharing this, which is hope. And I think hope is a thing that kind of, it gets passed over. You know, faith, we're like faith. We're faithful when we have faith in Jesus and we have faith for him to do great things and faith for the miraculous and faith for this and love. Man, love is the basis of everything, the love of Jesus. But we kind of just pass by the hope section, Jake. And it's just like, wait, why did hope make it into this list of three things that are eternal, that they will last forever? And it's because hope is really something that we have to hold on to. Because we know from the prophecy in Isaiah 42, which is also referenced in Matthew chapter 12, verse 21, that Jesus is the hope of the world. You're like, yeah, that sounds nice. That's like a bumper sticker. Oh, it makes me feel good inside. I can put that on the back. I can put that on social media. Oh, Jesus is the hope of the world. But until you really internalize it and apply it, if Jesus is the hope of the world, then we as believers are never without hope. There's not a situation, a circumstance, or anything that we're facing, whether it's a tiny little hill or a giant mountain, we are never without hope because hope is an eternal creation of God, because Jesus himself is the hope of the world. And if we really believe that and we really live by that, then we know that no matter what we're facing, there is hope. And we know what it says in Romans chapter 8, verse 28. Which is God is working all things together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purposes for them. And that's what we know deep inside, is that when we can trust in God, that hope is the thing that leads to faith and becomes an expression of love. And so for all of our listeners out there, whether you're listening for the first time or whether you're excited that we're back and you listen to all of our previous seasons, we want you to start this journey with us as we move over the next 6 months of NFL football. And we have so much fun talking about it. We want to start at a place of hope, real hope. Maybe you've lost hope for something that's very important to you, something that has just become overwhelming because it hasn't changed, because you haven't seen what you thought you'd see, because you prayed and it didn't come to pass. It can be an unbearable place, so much so that God made sure there were scriptures to talk about it in the Bible. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 12 says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a dream fulfilled is a tree of life. I think we've all felt that kind of heart sick before, where just what we really hoped for, what we really believed just didn't happen. And so just as we wrap up, I just want everyone to take a moment to reflect and a moment to think, what's that thing that you used to have a lot of hope for that you've just kind of let fall to the back of your mind, fall to the back of your prayer list, fall to the back of your life and just go, listen, it's just not going to happen. And I think maybe it's simple things, and just to jog your memory, just to make your mind turn or your spirit jump. I'm going to share a few that I think our listeners might be facing. Maybe you've lost the hope for a loved one who needs Jesus to become their Savior. And you need to be reminded that Jesus is still after their heart. Maybe you've lost hope for living free from addictions in your life. And I don't know what those are, and I'm not going to waste time listing them, but you do. But you've forgotten that Jesus is the one who sets us free. Maybe you've lost hope for a healing in your body or in a loved one's body because you've been praying and asking, you just haven't seen that healing. But the creator of that body is also the healer of that body. That Jesus is the one who gave up his body to be bruised, beaten, and broken so that we could be healed, including physically, but also healed in every other way. Or maybe you've just lost hope for your marriage. Maybe we've lost hope and said, it's just is what it is, which is the least hope-filled phrase in all of the English vernacular. You've lost the hope that it will be healthy and strong and centered around Jesus. But it doesn't have to be that way. Jesus can be the very thing that reunites and restores your marriage. And lastly, maybe you've just lost the hope of heaven. Maybe there was a time in your life your relationship with Jesus was just bright and burning and on fire and passionate, and it's just kind of dimmed, and you've kind of walked away, and you're now living a lifestyle that you know doesn't line up with what Jesus would have for you. So this isn't about what you haven't lost. It's about taking a moment to say, you know what? Hope is eternal. And as long as I believe in Jesus Christ, the hope of the world, I'm never without hope. So that's our encouragement for you as we share our first episode of this season of Inspired Sports. You are never without hope. Jesus Christ is the hope of the world, and hope is an eternal creation that he meant to live alive in your heart. So whatever you're facing, just know there is hope because of Jesus.
Man, Alex, I love that. Because I think in sports, there are many that confuse hype and hope.
Oh, for sure.
They are hyping up something that they really wish they could be hoping for, but they know that they don't have a whole lot of substance to hold them up in that hope. So they instead hype it up. I heard someone say one time, hype is an external noise that tries to build excitement. Hope is an internal belief that just keeps you going.
That's good.
And
you should have seriously. Why didn't you email me that? That was I should put that in there, man. That's incredible. Can you say that one more time for our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. Hype is an external noise that tries to build excitement, where hope is an internal belief that keeps you going.
That's good.
And I think that in our lives, that's why when we're down, when we're weak, when we're at our low points, we call friends, we call family to hype us up, because we're wanting them to give us something externally that will try and fill a void that's internal. Yeah. And when it comes to our walk with Christ, our eternal hope, then we can realize that is the thing that can keep us going when the world is trying to hype us up with everything else around us. So I think that is a beautiful way to start our first episode, going into a season where a lot of people are hoping, they think they're hoping, but in reality they're hyping. Yeah. And so great job.
Hey, I appreciate that. And I hope all of our listeners appreciated it too. We want to start you off with a burst of hope because here at Inspired Sports, we are your place for clean sports talk with real inspiration. You can check us out on all of your favorite podcast platforms. You can watch us on YouTube, and you can check us out twice a week because you will see us. We are recording right after Monday Night Football and right after Thursday Night Football. So look for us on Tuesdays and Tuesdays and Fridays with fresh podcast episodes. You can't get enough of Inspired Sports.
It's great to be back.
We're back!